And welcome back to my channel. It's been about a month since I've uploaded, and things have just been really stupidly busy here, but finally back on track. And today we are going to talk a little bit about AI and some of the concerns that we might have and some of the issues that I think are going to come up because of it. But we're going to do that while I draw a picture. I don't mean draw a picture, I mean colour in an illustration that I drew years ago, but it's quite late and I'm determined to not let another week go by where I don't upload because I've been a little bit inconsistent recently and it's bugged me. So I'm getting back on track for the second half of the year. Anyway, this is what we will be going through today while we discuss if AI is gonna kill us all. So, let's begin, shall we? And first, let's be honest. Are any of us really surprised that AI art is actually here? I'm probably a little bit older than some of you watching this, so I remember when digital art was very, very new, and that was what we considered AI art at that time, when none of us really understood digital art, so we thought it was just a couple of clicks of a button and people were producing these magnificent artworks, and we didn't realize that it was just basically painting just with a digital format. So this is kind of the second AI revolution I've lived through, and but this one is different because it almost completely removes any artistic ability, any artistic really insight, or any of those sorts of things to creating artwork. Plus the extremely dodgy way that it was created, using a ton of stolen artwork. We have already the legacy of uncompensated artists. Again, none of this is really, really shocking. We all sort of knew that at some point this was going to happen, and most of us as artists just hoped it didn't happen in our lifetime. But it did, and now it's here, and it's not going away. Initially, when AI art first sprung up, I was very much frightened and very much against it. But I don't think there's any point being against something that it's just permanent. It's never gonna go away. And companies and industries have found a cheaper way to create high-spec artwork without having to pay artists, and it can be done in half the time. We are at the beginning of this, and probably by the end of my lifetime there will be full movies made by artists made by AI art. There will be entire music scores, entire not just animated movies, because of the way they can do those face replacing, I forget the name what they're called now, but what they're doing now is just, we're at the beginning of this, and it's going to completely change the art industry. I already know friends who have lost a significant amount of their income because they base their income in digital art and digital portraits, and now these days 2 clicks of a button and you can have 9 of them on your phone for free in some cases, with some filters and things like that. And it's sad, and it's going to affect every single one of us. If you were ever going to be in any kind of commercial work, you're pretty much screwed. You may have about a 10-year window before you're going to have to create something else or find a new way of working. And this sounds like I'm being cynical, and I am a little bit, but we all know that when these big companies can find a cheaper way to do something, they're gonna do it. They've never centered artists. They've only ever pretended to leverage what we can do to make money. And so we're going to be dealing with a lot of that, and we're going to be competing with our own artworks because a lot of them have been nicked. So that's not, again, it's just a really, really dark, sobering thing to do, thing to experience. But in everything, I think in every pain, in every huge global shift, in every stage of dramatic change, that there is an invitation. So what is the invitation here when we're at a point where artists are systematically will be, we're going to see it cut out of any corporate invested art or the big paychecks or the big things like that. We're going to be cut out of those, and we know it's coming. But there is an invitation in that, and that is for artists, I think, or at least part of it will be for us to actually start looking after each other. Because let's be honest, we haven't been. When you go onto your Instagrams or to your other YouTubes, how often are you actually supporting artists? How often are you actually buying their work? How often are you sharing their stuff on your pages? We don't have a choice anymore. We don't have a choice. In order for us to survive economically in any way, shape or form, we are going to have to band together. We're going to have to stop pretending that we're a community, and we're going to have to actually start being one. This is sobering, but it needs to happen, and it is the only way that we're going to, I think, again, survive on an economic space. So, with that in mind, what can we start doing? Well, first, any single time now, going forward for me, any single time that I want to buy something for a Christmas present, a birthday present, anything like that, or if I just fancy something, I will look at small independent artists first. I'm ashamed to say that I haven't been doing that up until this point. I do look, but I've never been highly proactive in that area, but that's going to have to stop now. A friend of mine actually she buys something from an independent artist once a month. That's her practice. So I may put that in. Just to help and to really dig in and to make sure that I'm collecting from people that are of my ilk. And I think that's all we can do. We are just going to have to look after each other. Because if we don't, we're going to get drowned out by people typing letters into an algorithm or a machine, or however they create that art, into Midjourney. They're going to be doing all of that and basically outpacing us. So we have to look after each other. Now, I think that's what's left. The only other thing I think we can maybe do is, I don't know, burn all the computers in the world, but then it's just not going to happen. AI is here. It is never going away. And where we are right now, this is the worst it's ever going to be. So it's only going to get better. So the only way to combat that is to truly actually act within the capacity of being in a creative community, not just pretending to be in a community in order to divert some attention towards yourself. I don't know. I don't know how we begin it, but that's a couple of the suggestions that I think I'm going to start following now. And if you have any more, please leave some down below. And if you have any thoughts on AI, please let me know. I'm still figuring this out just as much as you are, but I don't think there's any real worth in throwing a ton of fear at something that is already here and that is never going to go away. But I do also understand that the only way through most of this stuff is with each other. Also, sort of before I end this, just for those that are interested, the materials I used here are cold press watercolor paper, markers, watercolors, graphite pencil, a couple of Posca markers, and felt tip pens. And the background, that muddy, inky thing, is just an ink pad and a sponge scraped over that to give it some texture. So, I hope you like it. So thank you for tuning in again, and I hope that little natter helped, maybe alleviated some pressures, some stresses, or maybe put things into perspective. My main mission is just to keep reminding you all to keep going. Art is always going to change. It is a landscape that is always going to evolve. And yes, it's evolved to a space that no longer includes actual artists, but that doesn't mean that we suddenly cease to exist, okay? So keep going, keep putting pen to paper, keep being inventive, keep adapting, and I am rooting for all of us. So thank you for tuning in. If you want to purchase this, or if you want me to make prints of it, I will scan it in a bit later. But if you want to purchase the original, it will be on my store. Probably by the time you're seeing this, all my links will be down below. So yeah, I'll speak to you all soon, and thanks for tuning in again. Oh, yeah, like and subscribe.